The first time I saw them, I thought I was hallucinating. A family, two adults, two children, spread out across my private beach like they owned it. Their bright umbrellas stabbed into the sand, just feet from where my grandmother's old rowboat rested upside down. David, I called into the house, my voice tight. There are people on our beach. My husband appeared at the sliding door, a dish towel slung over his shoulder. Oh, right, the Millers. I told them they could use the lakefront today. The glass of lemonade in my hand trembled. You did what? David gave me that infuriating half smile, the one he used when he thought I was overreacting. It's just for the summer, Sarah. Their kids wanted somewhere to swim. I stared at the family, now dragging my patio chairs toward the water. The woman, early 30s, blonde, in a red bikini, waved at David. He waved back. This isn't a community pool, I said through clenched teeth. This is private property that's been in my family for 60 years. David sighed. It's just sand and water. What's the harm? The harm came that evening when I found beerkins buried in the sand and the gate to our boathouse left open. As I picked up their trash, I noticed something else, the woman's lipstick-stained cigarette, but on our dock, and the way David had hurried outside when he saw me examining it. That night, I lay awake listening to David's phone vibrate at 2:17 a.m. When I rolled over, he quickly silenced it. The screen flashed briefly, a heart emoji beside the name Jen. At dawn, I walked the property line with a measuring tape and notebook. Then I called the county zoning office. The surveyor arrived at 8 a.m. sharp, his truck loaded with equipment. David came running out in his robe. What the hell is this, Sarah? Boundary verification, I said sweetly, handing the surveyor my great-grandfather's original land deed. For the fence permit. David's face turned an alarming shade of red. You can't be serious. The surveyor glanced between us. Ma'am, your paperwork checks out. We'll stake the full 600 feet today. As the crew hammered orange flags into the ground, the Millers appeared in their swimsuits. The woman, Jen, put her hands on her hips. What's going on here? I smiled, establishing some boundaries. David pulled me aside, his grip painful on my arm. You're embarrassing me. I yanked free. No, you embarrassed me when you gave away my inheritance to your... My voice trailed off as I noticed Jen's son wearing David's college hat, the one I'd bought him for our anniversary. The boy saw me looking and quickly took it off. That afternoon, I sat in the lawyer's office reviewing property laws. You're well within your rights, Attorney Reynolds confirmed. But are you sure you want to do this? I slid a photo across the table, David and Jen sharing a bottle of wine on our dock. I've never been more sure. As I left, I called the fencing company. 8 feet tall, steel posts, and make sure the gate locks from both sides. Construction began at sunrise. The rhythmic pounding of posts into bedrock echoed across the lake as workers unrolled heavy-duty chain link. David stormed outside in his pajamas. Stop this insanity. The foreman checked his clipboard. Sorry, sir, the property owner authorized it. That word, owner, made David flinch. By noon, half the fence was complete, cutting off all lake access. The Millers arrived just as the crew installed the first gate. Jen marched up to me, her face contorted with rage. You can't do this. Our kids have a community beach 2 miles north. I finished. I handed her a printout of David's text messages, the ones where he'd promised her our private paradise. Her mouth opened and closed like a fish. David grabbed my shoulder. You've gone too far. I shook him off. No, you did when you gave her my grandmother's beach. That night, I changed the house locks while David was at the bar. When he stumbled home at midnight, he found his bags packed on the porch. The rocks started hitting the house at 3 a.m. I watched through the security camera as Jen's teenage son hurled stones at our windows, his father cheering him on. David stood by silently, a beer in his hand. Police lights flooded the property 20 minutes later. Officer Delaney examined the damage. They claim you provoked them, Mrs. Calloway. I showed him the camera footage. And this? He sighed. I'll have a word with them. The next morning, our mailbox lay smashed in the ditch. The local paper featured a scathing editorial: "Elitist landowner blocks lake access." David used the publicity to file for divorce, claiming emotional abuse. His petition included photos of the fence, calling it spiteful overreach. My lawyer laughed when she saw it. "He's listed the lakefront as marital property." She tapped the deed. "But this says otherwise." At the hearing, the judge reviewed my evidence: the affair, the trespassing, the vandalism. When David took the stand, he claimed he'd only allowed access out of Christian charity. The judge's gavel came down hard. The fence stays. Mr. Calloway gets nothing. As we left the courthouse, David grabbed my arm. "You'll regret this." I removed his fingers one by one. "Already do. I regret ever marrying you." The moving van arrived the next week to haul David's things to a studio apartment across town. As workers carried out his golf clubs, I noticed Jen's car idling down the block. I intercepted her at the gas station. "He doesn't have money anymore," I said conversationally. The judge made sure of that. She adjusted her sunglasses. "I don't know what you mean." I handed her an envelope, copies of David's credit card statements showing charges at the Sandpiper Motel dating back to our first anniversary. Her face fell. That afternoon, I hosted a fence party for the neighborhood kids. We painted the chain link in rainbow colors while eating popsicles. The local news came to film the community reconciliation. David wasn't invited. The hurricane warning came at midnight. Winds were predicted at 80 miles per hour, enough to test any fence. I secured the boathouse as rain lashed the windows. At the height of the storm, a figure appeared on my security feed: David struggling with the gate lock. I met him outside, my raincoat whipping in the wind. "Looking for something?" He held up our wedding photo. "I just want to talk." Lightning flashed, illuminating his bloodshot eyes. I noticed the empty whiskey bottle in his jacket pocket. "Talk to your lawyer," I said, retreating inside. The storm took down 3 fence panels and half the dock. But when dawn broke, the gate still stood, its lock intact, its frame slightly bent but unbroken. Just like me. 1 year later, the fence remains, though now it's covered in climbing roses. The "no trespassing" signs have been replaced with a tasteful plaque: "Private residence." Smile, you're on camera. I host swimming lessons for underprivileged kids every Tuesday. The gate code changes weekly. David filed for bankruptcy last month. Jen left him when the money ran out. Sometimes I see him at the grocery store, his cart filled with frozen dinners. Today, I walk the property line with my new rescue dog. At the water's edge, I find a single beer can washed up, the same brand David always drank. I crush it under my heel and toss it in the recycling. The lake is calm now, the sand raked clean. And the gate? It's locked.